Cloud. Yeah, hi everybody. Welcome to another Lunch and Learn from our virtual coffee Lunch and Learn series. Today we have the privilege of hanging out with Jörn today, and Jörn is going to be telling us all about GitHub pages and action and GitHub Actions as well. So as I mentioned, we do have a code of conduct. Please respect that. Jörn said it's totally cool to ask questions during, and we can have some questions after too. So without further ado, I will let you go ahead and share your screen, Jörn, and yeah, everybody enjoy the show.
Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to this. I hope you can see the screen with the empty tabs here right now. We're going to start from scratch. So basically everything that I do will be done here live, and we will have a look into how all of this works. So basically what I want to do with you is create a new repository, and we will create something where we can put our own portfolio page or whatever we like to do. And let's find out how to host your pages then on GitHub pages with a GitHub action. And let's see what we can do with that. So the first thing that's obviously the hardest thing is coming up with a name. So you have like 5 seconds to tell me a name. Otherwise, I will just use VC demo.
Learn.
Yeah, naming is hard. This is one of the tough problems in software development. So
okay, let's try this one. Okay, and it's going to be GitHub pages, build sections, and cheap hosting. So I'm not going to put anything in here. I'm usually using this MIT license. Yeah, we can have this so that we have something in the repository already. And let me just clone this, open a nice terminal, and git clone this. We'll open this thing in Visual Studio Code, because I really don't like to work in the terminal that much. So I'm not a Vim kind of person. And let's see what we have here. So first of all, the GitHub pages approach is just a way to have your to have some HTML page in your on your GitHub account, and I'll start with that. So basically, let's put in an index HTML just to show you how that works. And I think there was a nice template for this. Yes, nice. Okay, so let's call it cheap hosting. To Jörn and learn. Just because you made this up, I'll keep going with this. Okay. So basically what we need to do is make GitHub aware of this. Let's put it on. So GA, git add, GST, git status, just a couple of small aliases. Also this git commit with signed message and stuff. Featuring, it's a feature, it's a new page. And I'll push this. So we will have a look into how does it look in GitHub here again. We could basically do this on here as well by using add file and all of that. But for now, I want to let you see how you can set it up. So first of all, in the settings tab, you have this nice pages over here, and you can select a branch which you want to use for the GitHub pages where it's going to be hosted. So when you select the branch, it also lets you select the folder. Right now, let's put it in the root, save it. So just that you can see this. And it's going to be published over here. So this is like the basic page. We will later also try to put our own domain into this. But let's go with this first. So it will take a minute or so. So let's just let me give you a little bit of more insights to this here. What we could do is basically have another folder or have another branch which we use to just create the GitHub pages over there, and the GitHub pages is looking for index.html file to show it on this page, which is hopefully now available in a second. Still not. So
it's all good. It's a demo, so you know things don't work perfectly right away.
it will work. It will work. I'm pretty sure. Oh, and yeah, actually we can look at it when it deploys, right? So
yeah, GitHub takes a little while to deploy sometimes. So
okay, so basically you can see it.
I had a quick question, Jörn.
Yeah.
I haven't used GitHub pages in a long time, and so it's clearly using an action now. Did you need to configure anything to use an action, or does it know that?
No. Okay. No. So this pages build and deploy action here is always done by them, and it will just take that. But I think this is only done once, or probably always when you push to that branch that you configured, so that it rebuilds this, I suppose. But we don't have this workflow in our repository here. So this will be this will be something that we will later configure and make it a little bit easier for us to change it.
Okay.
Okay. So the first step is there. Here's our HTML file. You see this, but we should also be able to see the license. I just copy the name of that. Which we probably don't really want. So it's going to, there it is.
Oh, I think it tried to download it because I see it in the bottom there. Okay.
So it downloaded it, and now I could open it. So everything that we have shared in there is there. This is usually not really what you want. You want to have this a little bit like all your HTML stuff in one directory, and you want to just publish that one. So let's go back to this here. Create a new folder. Let's call it docs, as they said basically in their suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to add all of that. So we renamed index.html to docs/index.html. Actually, it's not a feature. I don't really know what to call it here in this case, but move it to
move stuff.
own namespace, I'll call it. Okay, so this is now, this should be gone in a second. So we're waiting until this is built. And then we won't see this page anymore because it will live under /docs right now. So just to let you see this, and I'm still waiting for that. We don't need this anymore. How long actually did the other action take? A minute. Okay, I should have prepared some jokes or something.
Yeah, I think it depends on the action because I don't use GitHub pages, but I have some other actions. And even like if you schedule it for a certain time, because it's like on the free tier, I guess it gets queued up. So it might not happen instantly.
Okay, so it basically creates some index page here, but it doesn't really help us much. So the index page is actually the README MD here, and it just uses that. But when we go into the docs folder, we can still see our index HTML. So this is fine. And now we want to remove all that README MD stuff from our GitHub page. So we'll go with the other folder, save this. And it will take another minute to be there. So the /docs won't be there, but it will be back over here as soon as the action is done. So basically, this is the easiest way to create these GitHub pages for the first time.
Okay, and I guess because like you said, the main page ended up showing the README when we moved things. That means that GitHub pages automatically are able to parse Markdown and convert it to markup without you having to do anything, I guess.
I think actually GitHub pages allows you to have a Jekyll page in there. And I believe that Jekyll is doing all of this extra stuff that may be in there. So there is, sorry, Meg?
I said, yeah, like GitHub pages was actually, when it first launched, it was Jekyll. It was all Jekyll behind the scenes. So it used like those GitHub actions before they were called that to build a Jekyll page from like a set number of templates that they had. And it was like easy as pie, simple. And I think like it still works off of Jekyll for like the basic GitHub pages, but I think they are trying to like branch away from that and expand it more at this point. But I don't think they're putting a lot into GitHub pages anymore, since stuff like Netlify and Heroku and Vercel are really dominating.
So it's definitely still there with Jekyll, and it tries always to parse Jekyll stuff. So when you have, for example, an underscore something directory, this is not going to be shown over here. So this is going to be empty. Since that thing ran through, we can see again that this is back to our beginning, and we shouldn't be able to get the license anymore. Wait a second.
Maybe it's cached. I don't know.
That could be the case. But it's that's this. Let's see.
Well, it says via varnish, so that's a cache. I feel like it's probably coming from cache.
Yeah. Okay.
You see, like right under where it says network, there's a check that says preserve log. There's next to it. Yeah, there you go.
Let's try this. Okay. Thanks.
Julia,
so just to prove the point.
Katie should have known that one. Come on now. She just
Okay,
ignored
okay.
you.
Okay, let's go back to this. Yeah, okay, where were we? So we have this over here. There's no extra stuff in there yet. So anything else that we do here is not going to go anywhere. Now, you may want to, you may actually want to do something like, as I already, I want to show you multiple things now. How to set up your own domain name and how to use it basically in your repository over here. If you want to do that, you have to create a CNAME file, and you have to set up your domain DNS settings to something like this. If you want to have it in a subdomain, you can use the CNAME the CNAME part of it and use the demo and point it to the GitHub IO domain that you have here. So I did that before because that usually takes a little bit more time. So hopefully the CNAME will be picked up quicker now.
Okay.
If you want to actually use your complete domain name, you have to use an A record, this A record, and set up the IP address that you can find in the GitHub help, which is always, well, fun to find. So trying to find all of that information is always a little bit tricky, I think, with the GitHub pages. So always Google it and find the answer and get some link from someone somewhere to docs.github.com and then see it over there. But finding it through GitHub Docs is usually not what I do. Just as a quick hint from my side, I can never find something in GitHub help itself. Always need someone else to find it for me. But okay, so I prepared, for example, demo go.dev, and let's try it with the subdomain. So when I do dev, I can see that it's actually pointing to that now your GitHub IO, and this is in turn all these IP addresses. So these are all GitHub, and I should be able to set this up, and GitHub should be able to pick this up, but only after we committed this. So let's put it in here. Add custom domain, and we'll push this, and we will see again an action being run. Okay. You can also, okay, sorry.
Oh no, I just said okay. Yeah.
Okay. Then in settings, you can also do that over here, right? So when I push the CNAME into the docs folder here, so basically in that branch, in that docs folder, GitHub will pick this up and will check that custom domain that it finds there. But you could also do it over here and press save. Then it will create you that file inside that branch in that folder, and you will have it there. But then you shouldn't forget that you need to git fetch all of that and continue working on what you got from GitHub then. So basically what they do when you change a setting over there, it will just create a new commit and puts it in there.
Okay.
So whenever you overwrite this, then well, you may lose that information if you think you can just do it in that thing and then not send it.
I like that you're showing how to configure a custom domain, because this is, I think this is something important for the folks that are might be starting out or trying to land that first job, like a lot of times folks will have like, this is my something.netlify app or wherever it's hosted, and uh, buying a custom domain isn't that expensive typically. I mean, if it's super popular, maybe, but typically you can get them for about, at least in Canada, about $10 Canadian, and then if you just configure it, it gives that more professional look to what you're, like, here's my portfolio, instead of it saying, github.io or whatever the link, yeah, just the whatever the link
Yeah.
is, GitHub page. So just really glad you're showing getting a custom domain. It's honestly worth the investment. Like, yeah.
Also, I'm following along with my own website. Like I've hosted in the chat, because I have a straight up Jekyll website that's my own one for my blog and just like stuff. And they've changed a lot of stuff on GitHub since like I made this in 2018, I think. So this is awesome because like I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta enforce HTTPS again because they have it differently now. So thank you.
Yeah. So I would always use this. They are using Let's Encrypt as far as I know. So this usually tells you when you first set it up that, well, it's not there yet. So when you have a look into this, sorry, over here, I think you can. No, that's not it. Then it was that other link. Yeah. So it starts always with the github.com domain, which is not your thing that you need. It will take a while, so this is going to take another 5 minutes or so until this is going to be on our own real thing. So for now, it's not. It looks like it's not working, but it will work in a couple of minutes. So we just have to wait, and this is going to be there. Okay.
Yeah, that's super normal for the wait too.
Yeah. Okay, I have seen this before, and I don't know how I got there, but all this stuff here is gone, and it's just gone. So thank you, GitHub, for having this strange bug. I refresh the page and I get all the tabs back. Just if you see that yourself, then maybe that's it. It seems to have something to do with when you change something on the GitHub pages, and you may lose all these tabs over here. Okay, anyways, this is okay. It's already done. Great. So we can already see it. We have a certificate now. The certificate over here is now there, and I guess it's let's encrypt certificate somewhere. Yeah. So basically automated for you. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to buy anything to have an HTTPS connection here for this. So this is also quite nice. A lot of hosts want you to buy these certificates from them, and I wouldn't really recommend doing that because it's just for the for really the transport security stuff. And if you don't really need having your organization's name in here and all that stuff, then you probably don't really need to use so much money for that. So up until now, I only paid for the custom domain name. You don't need that, so you would still be free if you don't want to if you don't set up the CNAME or over here this custom domain. So you would still have the nario.github.io just for free to show something. And yeah, So let's continue. In here, we have this, and we actually want to have something a little bit different now. Like we want to make this a little bit more dynamic when we do something. So let me show you something what I usually do in my usual projects. I would have a source file, and let's put this somewhere else and say last updated at. And just say, okay, we will try to show whenever we change something on the page, we want this to be updated as well. So now we're getting into a territory where you can have your source files in here. You have a build step to pull you, for example, stuff from other pages, from a database, from Airtable, from anywhere you like. Put it into your page, and then that should be going into the build page over here. So what I'm going to do is try to come up with a short script. I call it build, and let's just take this, update this, and put the time that we have right now in there and put it into the docs folder. So basically what I'm doing is just have your sources, they can be dynamic. They can say, okay, over here, input something from somewhere else. We have a build script that does that for us. And we have an output over here, which will then look a little bit different after doing this. So let me just quickly cheat because I have something prepared actually. I just have so many open tabs in my other screen. Let me just find this. Okay. So I'm using a shell script right now, but usually when you work on your own project, you will have, for example, a package JSON where you can put in any kind of script that you use with JavaScript, or you have a Rails script somewhere, or Ruby, or whatever you use, Meg. And yeah, so this is very generic, so you can do whatever you like and put it somewhere. Let's take the source index HTML and run it through SED. The SED is this streaming editor, so it goes through that whatever it gets line by line, and you can change something based on a regular expression that we're going to add here. Thanks for posting that in the chat. So time updated was the thing that I said, and we want to replace this with the current date. So date is also a Unix command, and this here is just saying run this, whatever is in the parentheses.
Okay.
And
just a quick question. So that, I mean, this is not specific to GitHub pages. This is something you're just doing to automate something in your GitHub page. Right. Okay.
So basically, I want to call that now. I need to make it executable. So let's use whoops. Sorry, that should have this over here. Yeah. So when I ran this, oh shoot. Wait, sorry. Let's go back. Let's go back. We are not wanting to overwrite the source file. We want to overwrite the docs file. So
yeah.
I just undo this and yeah, let's run it again. So usually everybody should no, don't run this. You know, like, this should be more interactive here. Okay, so
Boo!
Everybody was paralyzed with fear in the crowd. That's why you couldn't hear anything. So.
okay. Yeah. So it took this, it ran it through that, and you can see it override this. So when I look into the Git status here, you can see that this got modified and these two things here got added. So let's commit this as well. And a build script to make this more dynamic. And so now, as you could see, I have to always update this this docs folder here. And this is something that I don't really like. I don't want to, whenever I update my sources, have to update my docs here and push that all together, because it will just be like, this is built. So I don't really need this because I can infer it from this file here, basically. So actually, I don't want to have this whole folder here. I want it to be generated. So let's try to do that with our build script first. We also need to touch a git ignore, and I'll put it into a different folder now. Instead of docs, I'll create a build folder. And we need to copy the CNAME to the build folder as well, if we are going to change this at some point. And I'll try to just see that in the end, we will get the same thing as we have in docs right now, just in an ignored folder, which I'll put in over here. So in the git ignore, there's this build folder. If I run this build script now, it will generate this build folder. You will see a CNAME. This is the same as we have in source. This is the same as we have in docs. And this here is the newly generated thing. So it's newer than what we have in docs over here. We're 2 minutes later, but still we have this here in source. I actually want to make sure that this is not going to be included in the Git. So when I git add everything, I can see it's not going to be added because I put it in the git ignore, and that means this folder is not being seen by GitHub. So when I push this now or commit this now and push it, it will still work with this docs thing, but we want to go a little bit further, and we want to try to just publish whatever it builds in this build folder over here. So let's try that, and I'll just add this. Good question. Good question.
Yeah.
CNAME from sources into dedicated directory. So this is usually why I don't really like doing small commits because I have a lot of time that I think about what I did.
Jörn, do
Yes.
you, I noticed that you put like that feature prefix, and someone posted that yeah, Nick, you posted that conventional commits earlier.
Yes.
Is that kind of where you're getting that from?
Yes. So I'm trying to get in the habit of doing that because you can later use it for semantic versioning and using semantic versioning to publish your stuff automatically. This is not really necessary, but it's just something I'm trying to do this since about a year or so now. And I just need to stay in the habit to do that so that I actually get better at it. So it's not really
Practice
like
makes
you have
perfect.
to, yeah, you don't have to use that when you do your GitHub pages stuff. You can still put in whatever you like. You could also say just update, yeah, stuff like that. Like if that's your thing, do it. I wouldn't like to work with you if you do that, but still, it's you can do it if you want to.
Yeah,
Got it.
Joe dropped a link to Comitizen's CZ-CLI. I don't know if that helps with the conventional commits or not. But
Okay.
yeah, it sounds like conventional commits would make for another good lunch and learn. So just
Yeah.
throwing that idea out there for anybody.
Okay. Now the problem is now we have this in this build directory. We don't want this docs directory anymore, so I'll just remove it. It's also a feature if you remove something. And now I'm not going to push it yet, but on GitHub pages, if you remember, we have this pages setting and we have this docs folder over here, which is not ideal. So what you could do is basically select a different branch where you get your sources from, or have a different folder over here that you can use. But the problem is that all of that is done manually, and you would need to update it manually on your machine. And you don't really want that. You want to commit something, push it to GitHub, let GitHub do all the work for you, and it should come up with a final result over there. So I will show you that with a GitHub action, and I will show that to you how it's done. You first need a new directory called .github and workflows, GitHub/workflows. In this workflows, we need a new file, and I'll call it deploy to GitHub pages, just because I always call it like that, but it's not really something that you really it doesn't matter how you call it over here, because you have the feature that you can write here what you want to deploy to GitHub pages, or build and host on GitHub pages, whatever you like. And we need to do this action. This action should run at some point whenever we push something on very specific branches. Basically, we only have one, so we just select this one. So the main branch that we use. Whenever we push to this branch, we will run jobs, and these jobs are actually, it's only one job that we have, and we call that build. We'll give it a better name than just build. We say built the page with last updated time. And this runs on a machine. That machine can be get from the let me write it first. Ubuntu latest. So we have a Unix machine, and this here can be looked up in the GitHub docs again. So whenever you want to know, okay, you can basically run GitHub actions on other machines. Like I'm going to use Ubuntu latest just because this is usually where your server is on, what your server is using. It has Linux running in it, so basically it can run these shell scripts, what we have over here as well. And let's just use this as our main machine. So there are steps that this job needs to do, and the first thing that it always has to do is do a checkout of the project. Then this checkout uses a specific action, which is basically predefined from GitHub. And I think the latest version is 3.02 or so. I don't really know. Which basically means it starts up some worker on Ubuntu latest. So that means there's a machine somewhere on GitHub. It takes this configuration, and the first thing that it should do is check out the code that you have in this specific repository. So this is going to be used. Then the next step is our actual build thing. We say update the page, and we run something. And what we run is the shell script build sh. And yeah, when we have done this, it will generate this build folder here on the server. So you always have to think of this folder here is invisible to Git right now because we put it in git ignore. We're not pushing it. So GitHub itself doesn't know about this yet. And we can then say, we can then use another action. And this is something that I always need to copy because I can't remember the action name, but it is basically doing the deployment on the GitHub pages branch that we will later use. And it's called like this. So James Ives GitHub pages deploy action. And it allows you to give it some extra arguments. And the branch that we want to deploy on, let's call it GitHub pages. And the folder that we want to deploy there is the build folder. So the build folder that doesn't really exist in Git, or in GitHub, it doesn't see it. But after it runs all the other steps over here, it will generate this build folder, and you can then use it to do that. Okay, so that was a lot, and it's probably better to see it live in action then. So I'll add this workflow definition, and honestly, you have to see like, all of this. I'll just push it and tell you this little secret, this little dirty secret. I'm always copying these files. This is always just copy and paste, but yeah. So basically, every time you have to work on YAML files, I think it's always a bad idea to just try and write it, because you always forget some white spaces or have the indentation not correct and it doesn't work and you wonder why, and always go from something that you already have written and that you know works. That will be a lot easier to debug later than just doing that. So get it from me, you're okay to copy and paste in this case, even though usually it's always copy and it's not copy and paste, but you copy and waste. That's the usual thing that we have in our JavaScript, the language meetup, where we never ever copy and paste, or the person that runs the show never pastes, because he always says copy and waste. Anyways, this is the add build action and build and deploy action. And let's see what happens now. Actually, nothing really will happen, because it's still here, this wrong setup over there, but something will be doing. Okay, we already see some action wasn't okay. Setup job. Oh no. Look at this.
Jörn.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I know it's not finding the action, but it looks like because it's a GitHub Pages project, it knows to run the GitHub Pages action last, which allows you to automate stuff first. Or is that just coincidence? Or because like if you go back to where it failed, like if you click on
This one.
Yeah, it looks like it looks like it runs your. Oh, maybe the order is different. I don't know. Okay.
I think it runs all of that at the same time.
Go to the actual actions tab, and click on the newest one. Yeah, it shows like the flow. So those are two different actions. It looks like they both failed.
Yeah, because over here it cannot find this folder anymore, which we deleted, and we want to delete it. So this is basically just still this here will run all the time now. So let me go back. I thought that there is also already like a version 3 out here, but I'll just
Joe wrote that they run concurrently. So if you need them in order, you have to write that in there.
Yeah, there's basically multiple things now. The actions that you can see in the GitHub Actions folder are all of these, plus the implicit one that GitHub uses with this that they call pages build deployment, and this is only happening because we have set this up. So this is done implicitly, and it checks whenever we push to this branch, it will try to run that action. So I guess this is happening. The other thing is with the jobs, this is inside of this here. So basically, you may want to have a build to build it. Then you want to have a deploy step to deploy it. And you may think like, hey, it would be a good idea to not have it as a build, but have it as a as another thing here and call it deploy. Say this is only deploying, and it runs on Ubuntu latest as well. And this is the steps that you need to do over here. But this won't work because this is not like this over here, and this here will be run in parallel on different workers. So this here is not aware, this here is not going to be aware of the stuff that happened over here in this job, because they run concurrently or in parallel. I don't know, Kirk shared something today where it got explained and I already forgot again. Anyways, if you have it in one job and run through all the steps, it will be done one after the other. So this one here would need to, if you want to have it as two things, you would need to do this here once again.
Okay.
So basically over here, you would probably have your test script after building the stuff and trying it out. Yeah, but for now, let's keep it as we had before. Just change the version to something that is definitely there. I thought it was 302, but I was wrong. I should have copy and pasted.
There's, I know you can actually get the latest version if you want, but that can be problematic because if there's breaking changes. So typically is people usually have them at a specific version.
Right. So when you have this, when you have a version set up over here, you can be sure that it will just be like that. And whenever they update something, it's not automatically changing whatever it's doing like unexpectedly. So that should work for us, and use known version for. Let's check it out. Okay, then let's go back over here. So it never created this GitHub Pages branch yet. So let's see what happens now after we change this. Still something. Wait a second.
Maybe go to the chat. I can check what let me check my GitHub actions for my site and just see what version I have, because it looks like that version doesn't exist. I might
That's
not have
strange.
one, but here.
I'm pretty sure
I have actions checkout v2. This is the one I have. I just pasted it in the chat.
Yeah, but v2 would also be could be not the
right one.
Yeah. Let me check. So basically, what is different? Oh, you can make this bigger.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the release.
It's the.
There's
Okay.
3.0.2.
Yeah, I didn't have this V over here.
Oh, okay.
That was my issue. So 302 should be there, I guess.
There's 3.02. Yeah, that's the latest one.
Okay, correct. Version once again.
It's timing because we're almost at time too. So it's like you gave us a bit of suspense, like, oh no, it's not working, and then boom, here we go.
Well, it's not done yet, so we still have to see the change over there. And yeah, we started a little bit late. I'm not sure. I wanted to show a little bit more, but however you feel like it.
Like you said, we did start a little late, so I think we can definitely go for at least another 5 minutes, and if folks have questions. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so this is great. Our action did something. So we should see a GitHub Pages branch now. The GitHub Pages branch is now only having what we had in the build directory.
Okay.
So there's a CNAME, and over here, there's finally like the time that we are at right now. So this is the correct one. The other one, whoops. The other one, what we had here, which is failing, is basically the one that we still have in the settings over here in the GitHub Pages settings. And we don't want that anymore. We want to use the GitHub Pages branch now. And it should be the root folder over there. We save this. Then it will go back to the CNAME that it had before. It totally forgot everything about it. It will check this once again, and let's see what happens over there. This is still old time stuff. This is not deployed. This has not deployed yet. So we still see this here now, which is like the real deployment on GitHub Pages wherever they host it. But they take just the branch, copy and paste everything from there over to wherever they host their stuff. And this will take a little moment.
Okay.
And once that's done, we should be able to update this. Reported success. There it is.
Perfect.
So yeah, okay. So in general, with this workflow, when you have something like this and you you have your own little build script over here, you can basically do anything you like in that build script. Like, hey, grab some data from a web server, or not from a web server because that would cost something, right? So you would grab some data from, for example, Airtable, which you put in there for free somewhere, got an API token, which is kind of free, like for if you don't update like every 5 seconds your website, then that should be fine. And you can use that to just update with whatever you like there. So basically, when you have a semi-static page, which is, for example, blog posts, you won't publish a blog post every 5 minutes. You will just have one per week or whatever, or maybe Nick, you have one per day.
I don't blog as much as you think I do.
But it's more like, okay, you can always update your page based on that. So whenever you post your new blog post, you can update your page. And I want to actually show you that thing that you can actually have a button for that, but I'm not sure whether we should go into that because it's already after 6 now.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we've even with the late start, we're at about an hour now, and I do want to be mindful of people's time. So but this has been really great, Jörn. I think this is GitHub Pages is definitely interesting, and I love that you demonstrated some of the GitHub actions. I really do think automating as much stuff as you can is super important, and I know you were demonstrating a trivial example by just putting a timestamp in there, but it definitely opens the door for lots of things, like you were saying, like pulling in your blog markdown or something, or just pulling in information from wherever you want, basically, or automating other tasks. So no, I think this is super helpful, and thanks again for showing and talking about custom domains, because I think that's something also that people can find value in terms of when you have your own portfolio or just your own personal website. So I don't know. I know there's a few of us left here. I don't know if anybody else has any other questions. So I'll just give a second there for folks to chime in if they want to. And just wanted to say thanks again, Jörn, for the talk today.
Thanks for having me here.
It's really great.
Cool. All right. I'm going to just go ahead and stop the recording then.